Welcome to Bakerfield Solutions discussion on best practices for accurately forecasting, monitoring, and providing insights into clinical trials. I lead the life sciences practice here at Bakerfield. I'm a former chemist who remains a scientific enthusiast. I'm always interested in learning about the scientific pathways being pursued by our clients and prospects. I spent a little over a decade at Genentech leading a team called Financial Solutions, where we did all the forecasting, budgeting, analytics at first for 450 finance and accounting professionals there in South San Francisco. And then after being heavily involved in integration, we did a lot of really interesting projects with the Roche Group across their 187 pharma affiliates. For the last 10 years, I've been bringing that experience to bear, working with life sciences companies on topics just like this one. Well, let's review a straightforward solution, but one that's representative of the type of functionality in which our clients are often interested. In terms of a brief orientation, we have two dimensions that have been embedded as pages, scenario, and then a look at the trial by phase with some cohort detail for which we'll be forecasting. In the upper section, we're going to forecast patient enrollment. We've made an assumption about how long the patient will be in the trial in this example, 16 months here. That could just as easily be 1 to 3 lines where the team was forecasting patient departures because they had reached their endpoint or had an adverse reaction, or life circumstances simply meant they no longer wanted to participate. In the upper section here, we're looking at fixed expenses, at first getting organized for the trial, site identification, contracting, and initiation, and then activities associated with operating the trial, communication with the CRO, site management, as well as some closeout costs for when the trial is forecast to conclude. In this case, that's out in 2028. The lower section is where we're looking at per patient expenses. We apply these drivers via a simple calculation to the number of patients who are forecast to be participating in any given period. As one would imagine, patient enrollment is the primary driver for this solution. So if we received word that this trial was going to be pushed out a month or two, we'd simply move the first patient in to September, and we can see that our forecast dynamically shifts to the right. This is happening in large part because we're using Excel calculations. Planful runs on Excel syntax. This really speeds up our implementations because the client team is able to leverage their existing skills. It's also a good reminder that Planful is a finance-owned solution. Our final responsibility on any implementation is for the project team to be able to hand the solution over to the client team and have every expectation that they'll be able to operate it comfortably. With Planful, that's realistic. Planful's modern architecture also means that we can interact with the underlying model through an interface like this one and see the results in a report or dashboard or template. So if I were to move to an online dashboard, we could see here that the same information is just represented a little differently. We've created metrics for this cohort in this trial, total patient enrollment, total expense. We can see the cost elements here represented in a graph, as well as a look at the expenses by month where the actual data is superseded by the forecast, and that continues throughout the projection. And because we're looking at the same data elements, we're able to look at a different dashboard, this time one rendered in Excel, and really see this exact same information. I think we flipped the graphs here. This allows our client teams to decide the interface in which they're most comfortable operating. Now let's make a few changes to this interface and see how it flows throughout the solution. Let's say that in November we had an extremely successful enrollment campaign, added 250 patients. I'm not going to continue that trend because I want to create a spike. Let's separately say that the team decided that on-site monitoring was going to be substantially higher, much more in line with site management. I'll make those two changes and then I'll just save them to the underlying model in this case. That allows us to do a few very important things. First, we can report on it. So if I refresh this dashboard, I can see the total patient enrollment and total expense are both significantly higher due to that spike in patient enrollment in November, and that our cost elements are much more in line. Having a central object or model in this case also allows us to apply calculations uniformly across the model. So if we were to test the first few intersections and they were correct, we would have full confidence that calculation would be correct throughout the model. Just a very big difference from spreadsheet solutions. Lastly, we're able to centrally update dimensions like account or department or trial, and when we make a change in one place, it's immediately available throughout the solution. Reporting is also readily available in Planful. Reports are easy to develop and distribute automatically to audiences of interest. If you'd like to learn more about solutions to manage your clinical trials, please contact us at Bakerfield Solutions. You're welcome to email me directly at this address. We have a large and experienced team, having completed over 400 Planful projects, and the results have been excellent. We've been selected by Planful's customers as the Partner of the Year the last 2 years. So let us know if we can be of assistance. We'd be happy to help.